Last of Us is a PlayStation exclusive that hit the gaming world by storm, with critics going through the roof to say how amazing this game is. Today, I'll be sharing my opinion on the game. Being the first PS4 game I've ever played, The Last of Us had to be a pretty good introduction to the console. And geez, it really was. This game truly lives up to all the wonderful things people say about it. I adore this game and can't wait for the 2nd in February. To start off, let's set the basics. The Last of Us is set in a future where a disease spread by mushrooms and fungus has left the world in ruin, as people try to survive by any means necessary. Disease turns people into kind of zombie-like creatures that they just call the infected, that keep on getting less human the longer you have the disease. The story follows two main characters, Joel and Ellie. Joel is on a mission to smuggle Ellie to a group of scientists trying to find a cure for the disease. Ellie is immune to the disease, and the scientists think that they may be able to find a cure using her. I won't go any farther as there's quite a few spoilers along the way. As you can probably already tell from all of this information, The Last of Us is practically like playing a movie. The characters and story just feel so real and possible, like any good movie would do. Speaking of characters, Joel and Ellie are great. Joel is a strong guy who is broken after the death of his daughter when the disease first broke out. And don't worry, that's not really a spoiler, it happens within the first bit of the game. Ellie is this badass girl with a very big knack for cursing, who never knew what it was like before the disease and the infected. It's really amazing to see these characters develop and come together like real people. Honestly, one of my favorite parts of the game was listening to the two characters' side conversations, or Joel explaining what life was like before everything went to hell. As for gameplay, I really enjoyed it. Most of it is shooting up infected or sometimes bandits, and I think it was really well done. You can play it stealthy and sneak up and silently take out people, or you can just run in guns blazing. Even that does not usually work, but ammo wasn't too scarce that you're afraid to miss one or two shots, but there's not too much either. The rest of the gameplay is mostly just exploring the vast world, which actually did have quite a few secrets to hold. If you're someone like me, you'll search every possible pixel for ammo or secrets, which wasn't the most useful in this game, as most of the time you would just find collectibles, but it was still pretty fun to look around the beautiful overworld. While I do say the overworld is beautiful, it's also very horrific. Seeing all the broken buildings and abandoned cities really helped drive home what the story was going for, and made for a very unnerving experience. The controls were nothing amazingly special, but I think they worked pretty great for what they were going for. They felt just right, and I never really had any complaints with them. As I said earlier, collectibles can be found throughout the world in the form of little pendants, or the more intriguing notes, which can be read. While I didn't read all of them, the ones I did read were actually pretty interesting, even if they didn't add anything to the main story. I also felt that Naughty Dog really nailed the difficulty in this game. You can choose the difficulty, but I felt like the normal difficulty was actually pretty great. I was never annoyed at how easy it was, but I sure was annoyed at how hard it was at certain points. Checkpoints were usually really generous, but sometimes you will find yourself at a really difficult part and have to keep on doing it over and over again. Now let's talk about the creepiness. So, would I call The Last of Us a horror game? No, not really. It is creepy, yeah, for sure. It's just not Resident Evil levels. The infected are never really meant to be that terrifying, even if their appearances are disturbing. You won't get jump scared every 2 seconds or have terrifying enemies jumping out at you. At the most, you might feel kind of stressed when it's super dark and you can hear infected all around you. On the topic of hearing, the sound design in this game is great. Now, I don't particularly mean the soundtrack is amazing, but whenever there is or isn't music, it's used just in the right occasions. As a final note, I really just love the simplicity of this game. It doesn't try to be super stylish like Persona 5, but instead goes for a more simplistic design. The menu, title screen, and loading screen are all great examples of this. While Persona 5 nailed the stylish design it went for, I feel like The Last of Us nailed the simple design they were going for. Overall, I think The Last of Us was truly one of the best games I've ever played. I will give it an A+. Anyways, thanks to everyone for watching, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see everyone later.